Hi everyone, this is the tutorial for the Tall Skinny Journal. So what I do first is join two pieces of card together to make sure that they will fit over the board. You want at least 1 inch on every side so you've got something to fold over. And then glue. I always glue the spine down first because then you can make sure that you can fit the other two on either side, get it central. And if you use glue, then you can move that centerpiece like I just did to get it in the correct position. I did these boards at 12 inches long, and they were about 4 inches wide, 5 inches wide. It's personal preference. Now I'm just trimming off the excess for the corners so that they fold nice. And then fold the edges over, and I like to run over it with my bone folder just to make sure that that crease is nice. And then we're going to glue all of those into place. Make sure you give them a good rub so that they are perfectly stuck. Then what I like to do is I go over the creases with my bone folder, just pushing them down to help the cover fold. Then we're going to measure the inside piece. I always like to wrap mine in black card. I don't know why, it's just personal preference. I always use approximately a tube of glue, making each cover. That really good press down so it's bonded nicely. And then again go over your creases with the bone folder to help when you fold. And I like to continue to rub because that seems to make it fold a bit easier and not lift up. Now I'm going to cover the inside of the cover. Chose the Stamperia old lace set. I had some pages left of that, so I thought I'll give that one a go. It'll go nice with the vintage theme. Again, rubbing it all down to make sure it's all bonded. And this was some more of the Stamperia paper. what I'm doing there is I'm folding the journal so I can make sure that that centre spine is put proper in position. I'll just pop this last piece on, and then that's your cover, your journal cover, pretty much made, so that's gone quick. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting 2 holes at the bottom and 2 holes at the top because I'm doing the tie-in, method. And just pop some eyelets in so it's nice and protected. I'm going to stick some of the book corners on. You see my thumb there, I had an accident with the tweezers. I got those pliers in a set from eBay. When you're putting the book corners on, make sure you're checking both sides so that you haven't lifted the paper up. So I've got my 2 signatures ready to go. And they're just sheets of A4 paper folded lengthwise rather than in half widthwise. When you're doing this, always when you're putting your awl through the hole, make sure that you are aiming your awl down towards the table. It was so difficult trying to do these signatures with my thumb. I like to sew the signatures together even when I'm doing the tie-in method because it just gives it a bit more stability. You don't have to do that. You could just put them through the ribbons that's going to tie them in. I cut my thread a little bit too short, so that was a bit of a problem, especially with a dodgy thumb. A lot of times I sew these signatures together and they just turn and turn and turn. I need to figure out a way to do it without so many turns. Because this was a really short one, what I did was I left the needle on to help me while I was tying the knots. It also helped me with pulling it with my thumb. So I've got some stretchy lace here. So just pop it through the bottom and then feed it. Make sure I've got plenty for the back to tie, and then feed it through the top one. Make sure the signature's in the position that you want it to. You can always move it around afterwards. And then just tie that in a nice tight knot at the back. And repeat it for the second one. Like I say, you can have as many signatures as you like. I just wanted to do 2 for this one. Again, we'll just tie that in a bow at the back. So now we can start decorating those lace ties. And we just cut a few lengths of lace. It doesn't matter if it's all different. It's whatever theme you're going for. And it's supposed to look shabby anyway. So I just cut an assortment. And they're not long pieces because all you're doing is threading it through the ribbon and then tying it in a double knot. So just take it underneath the 2 ribbons, and I tied both of mine together and literally just tying it into a double knot. Make sure you're doing them quite close to the previous one so that you're not going to have any gaps when it's finished. There we go. I've covered all of the spine bar the top piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some bigger bows up there. I couldn't do anything with that thumb. And then do a big bow with the contrasting piece as well. I'm just going to pop a little tassel on through this knot to hold it in place. So I got sick of the bandage and took it off. And then what you can do to hide the stitching in the middle page is you can glue these two pieces together to make a big pocket. You don't have to, it's personal preference. So just glue down both the edges and then give them a good rub. And then all your ties are hidden in that page then. Just making sure that my edges are all nice and straight. And we'll just pop some little indentations in there. And your pocket's good to go. And that's pretty much it. That's your journal constructed. Really simple and pretty quick to do.